know the secret about people? It's simple. They love to talk. They talk when they're happy, when they're angry, and especially when they have nothing better to do. But you're different, aren't you? You stay silent. You sit there eyes cold, lips sealed, and it drives them crazy. Why? Because silence is power. And you, my friend, haven't even scratched the surface of how much power it gives you. They need your reactions. They feed on them. They say something to cut you, to break you, and they wait for you to flinch. But when you don't, when you just give them that dead stare, everything they say falls flat. It's pathetic, really. Desperate, even. They crave to matter, to be heard in your world. But here's the trick. Let them talk. Let them spit and scream and twist themselves into knots trying to get to you. Because the moment you speak, you give them what they want. But silence? Silence is the cruelest weapon of all. It lingers. It echoes. And it keeps them awake at night, replaying every word they said, trying to figure out why it didn't break you. Your silence becomes their obsession. It's their personal nightmare. They'll call it arrogance, they'll call it cowardice, but deep down, they know. It's control. Your control. Think about it. Look at every miserable soul around you, drowning in gossip, opinions, tearing each other apart just to fill the empty space in their heads. They can't stand silence, that emptiness. But you wear it like armor. You don't owe them explanations, apologies, or a single word. Because the truth is, most people wouldn't understand you anyway, even if you did speak. They don't want the truth. They want comfort. They want lies that fit into their tiny worlds. But the truth is ugly. You want to know why they talk about you so much, why your name is always on their lips even when you're not around. It's because they can't figure you out. You're a puzzle they can't solve. A locked door with no key, and it eats them alive. They need to label you, to put you in a box small enough for them to understand. But when you stay quiet, when you refuse to play along, you become limitless. You become everything they fear and everything they'll never be. Unpredictable, untouchable, free. And the best part is when they finally stop talking long enough to realize what you've become. Stronger, colder, sharper. They'll look at you and see all the pieces they tried to break, now put back together, held by scars that shine like armor. It'll haunt them, the thought that they made you this way, that their words, their lies, their betrayals only forged you into something they'll never touch. People think silence is weakness. They think that if you don't defend yourself, you've already lost. But the real war isn't fought with words. It's fought in the quiet spaces between them. It's fought in the way you keep moving forward, step by step, without stopping to explain yourself. It's in the way you let them talk while you build. Let them laugh while you sharpen. Let them doubt while you prepare. Because sooner or later, they'll realize. They'll see what you've been doing in the dark. And by then, it'll be too late. Their voices will fade. Their names will be forgotten. And all that will be left is you, standing in the ruins of everything they swore you'd never build. Let them talk. Let them mock, sneer, whisper behind closed doors. Let them fill the silence with their petty little words and watch. Watch as your silence grows into something they can't escape. Something that crawls under their skin and stays there. Because the deadliest thing in this world isn't hate, anger, or even revenge. It's silence. Your silence. Ever notice how people spill their guts to anyone who will listen? Dragging your name through the mud just to make themselves feel a little less pathetic? It's funny, isn't it? The ones who talk the loudest often have the least to say. But you don't waste your breath. You don't hand out pieces of yourself to anyone with ears. You understand something they never will, that silence is a weapon. It's not the coward's way out. It's the smartest move you'll ever make. The less you say, the more they'll fill in the gaps with their own insecurities, their own fears. They'll build monsters out of shadows just because you didn't correct them. Let them. Let them turn you into the villain if it helps them sleep at night. They need enemies to justify their miserable lives. But you're smarter than that. You don't give them ammunition. You don't play the game. You watch, patient, as they bury themselves with their own words. And that kills them. You can see it in their eyes, the frustration, the desperation. They poke and prod, trying to get a reaction. And when all they get is that dead-eyed stare, they start to unravel. Because silence doesn't just haunt them, It exposes them. It makes them confront the emptiness of their own existence. They'll call you names, cold, arrogant, heartless, but that's just fear talking. That's them projecting their own weaknesses onto you. They can't stand the idea that maybe, just maybe, you don't need them. You found peace in the silence, power in solitude. And that scares them more than anything. Because if you're not afraid to be alone, then what does that make them? Weak? Dependent? Terrified of the dark? So they keep talking, trying to drown out the voice in their head that whispers the truth. But deep down, they know. They could never do what you do. Face the silence and come out stronger. It's almost poetic, really, the way they try to break you with their words, not realizing that they're the ones cracking with every lie they tell. How they laugh too loud, protest too much, just to hide how badly they want your approval. But you don't owe them that. You don't owe them anything. Not your time, not your energy, and sure as hell, not your words. They're parasites, feeding off attention and drama, and the only way to kill them is to starve them. Give them nothing but that cold, blank silence. Let them waste time trying to tear you down, because when they finally stop to see what you've built, it'll be too late. Silence is an art. It's knowing when to speak and when to let the world's noise collapse on itself. It's control. It's understanding that the moment you explain yourself, you lose. You hand them power. But when you stay quiet, when you let them fill the silence with their own nonsense, you become untouchable. They can scream, rage, and call you every name in the book. It won't change a damn thing. You don't need to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. The more they talk, the more they reveal about themselves, about their insecurities, fears, and desperate need to be seen as something more than the hollow shells they really are. And you're just a mirror. You reflect all that ugliness back at them, without saying a word. They hate you for it. They hate that you see through them. They hate that you can cut them down with a single look. But that's not your problem. Let them choke on their own words. Let them exhaust themselves, trying to break through walls that aren't even there. Because when the dust settles, when their voices finally fade, all that will be left is you. Silent, unbroken, and so far above their petty games that they'll realize, too late, that they never had a chance. Your silence isn't weakness, it's a warning. And by the time they figure it out, it will be far too late.